Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson. All right, we're going to talk about something that we all have to deal with: blame. It's a natural reaction when we experience a negative situation or find ourselves making bad choices. But blame can often block clear thinking as well as judgment, right? So joining us right now with tips on how we can actually embrace ownership and personal responsibility is clinical psychologist. It's Dr. Michael Adams. Dr. Adams, thank you so much for joining us and welcome back to Daily Flash. I got to tell you, this is a big thing for me, is that just taking responsibility can fix and clear out so much. But why is taking that personal responsibility actually good for our physical and psychological health? Why is it so important?
It's extremely important, Mitch, because it gives us a sense of control. A lot of times we feel out of control, especially in our culture, right? We feel like we can't control what's going on in the macro world out there. But we actually do have control over our micro world, meaning our own lives. And it's very empowering. When we take control of our physical health, our psychological health, even our spiritual health, we have a sense of control. And that becomes really important because we're in a blame culture. That's what we're in right now. So if you look at the media, of course, politics especially, right? People are blaming everybody left, right, and center. When you get off the blame game and you start to look in the mirror a little bit and say, okay, I can't control the world at large, but I might be able to control myself, that's where we get empowerment. So empowerment comes from a sense of control and responsibility. Those things go hand in hand, and that gives us a path towards doing better in life.
Why do you think that we're so conditioned to really think that we have quick fixes to really complex issues? Is that just part of us innately?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the result of advertising, believe it or not. I think between drugs and pharmaceuticals and quick weight loss
Yeah.
programs and fill in the blank any way you like. But the bottom line is that people start to sense, you know what? If I take a pill or I just take this elixir, I'm going to be okay. And we're seeing this all over the place. This is the culture we're in. So advertisement has a lot to do with it. And so the idea is a quick fix. You hear that left, right. And the thing is, there is no quick fix. That's the secret. You really have to take better care of yourself. And yes, while drugs have a place, you really have to take a good look in the mirror and accept personal responsibility, Mitch.
I would imagine, because of social media, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it makes it easier for a person who doesn't want to take personal responsibility to have an audience. And a lot of times, should we welcome people that won't take responsibility? Do we call them out on it? What do we say on the other side of how do we say to that person that won't take that blame or won't take personal responsibility?
I think, Mitch, we say to them, you have to get out of the victim mentality because that'll keep you stuck for the rest of your life. You'll always have somebody to blame. You'll always be able to say you're a victim of something or someone. And if you get stuck there, you're never going to make forward progress.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in personal responsibility. Once I'll tell you real quick, I went to a physician and I had some medical issues. And at the end of the meeting, she said, you know something, Michael, you have to do your part. And it hit me like a light bulb. My part? She goes, yeah, you know what you need to do. So from that moment on, I realized, it's not just a pill or a procedure.
Yeah.
It's you have to, and it takes work, Mitch, right? It takes work, but it's work.
It is. And to lead into that, we need to find out what that work is. What can we do to actually embrace some of that personal responsibility?
We create a self-care plan that's reasonable. We can't go out and do things that are going to be overwhelming because we'll fail at those. Right. But I'm reading a great book right now, Atomic Habits. And I'm sure a lot of people out there have read that book or know about that book. It's great because the principle behind it is we create new habits by starting very slowly, incrementally.
Hmm.
Right. You may not be able to do 20 push-ups, but maybe you can do one. You may not be able to walk, 3 miles, but maybe you can walk 50 feet. So you build on those principles and create new habits. So it's a self-care plan that you embrace. And what I love too, Mitch, is there's always a new self-help book, isn't there? Especially about weight loss,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Well, I always tell people, Mitch, they already have the information. They already have the information. They know what to do. It's just a question of, getting off their butts and doing it.
Yeah. And again, going back to what you said, taking that personal responsibility of like, I'm not fat because the candy bar made me fat. I ate the candy bar, that sort of thing. And that kind of leads me into this question: is how are we actually in control of maybe physical conditions, like things like addictions, obesity, maybe other health problems that are maybe passed down generationally?
That's a wonderful question because if you really look at the statistics, right? Literally, there are studies that show that over 50% of ailments in America are self-induced, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, overweight,
Hmm.
junk food, drugs, whatever, you fill in the blank, we're doing it to ourselves. One thing is fascinating, we're looking at, of course, the influx of drugs in America and trying to crack down on that. But we're not looking at the consumer. There wouldn't be a market for all these drugs, illicit drugs and so forth and so on, including fentanyl, which is horrible, if there wasn't a consumer who wants it. So you kind of have to look in the mirror and say, something, what am I doing to myself and what do I need to do to take control? It all comes back to that.
Okay, you said something. I kind of want to go on the other side of it. Let's say you are the person that is a victim of somebody who won't take personal responsibility. Do you call them out on it? How's the best way to react to that? To maybe they might not be aware that they're not taking responsibility.
I think you enter that conversation gently. I think you say, something, okay, you do have these things going against you that you believe you don't have control, but what do you have control over? Let's take a quick look at that. Maybe you can make an incremental change in this area of your life or that area of your life, right? Listen, change is extraordinarily difficult. We know that habits are hard to change. We know that. It's human nature, but we also have to have hope. And what I like to say all the time, Mitch, to people is, when somebody says, someday I'll get in shape, someday I'll eat better, someday I'll stop drinking,
Right.
someday I'll stop. But I tell them, Mitch, someday happened yesterday.
You missed the boat. You get on, take responsibility of it. I appreciate those sort of things. And as I said when I led this off, it's a big deal in my life is that if you just take responsibility, not only you might have done something bad to me, but I will gain respect for you. And I wish that other people would understand that you do gain respect by just taking responsibility. And there's more of that. And then you can see in your personal lives that maybe something you might have done physically, you could actually do emotionally as well. Very good stuff. And if you want to find out more information, Doctor, we always love having you on. You want to check out makeamericasaneagain.net. There you'll find more information. We appreciate you being on, Dr. Adams. We got more Flash coming up right around the corner.